What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm doing an unboxing, some swatches, and a makeup look on Lunar Beauty's new Moon Spell collection, the Moon Spell Volume 2. And you know, I also got the lippies, so let's get into it. I just have to say I'm obsessed with this packaging. I absolutely love the packaging on the glosses as always. My only complaint is that I wish the glosses had the same black fade as the liquid lip. But other than that, it is stunning. It is beautiful. I can't wait to swatch these for you guys. Right here on the end, we have the liquid lipstick in the shade Hallows Eve. Manny described it as like a pumpkin spice color. It's like a burnt orange, and this retails for $18. And then the two glosses retail for $17. He does have bundles available on his site. I did get the bundle for the palette and glosses. So in the middle, we have the shade Coven, which is like right up my alley because I'm a nude basic bitch. And this is basically like a sheer topper gloss with some gold shimmer and reflect, and it has a peach undertone to it. And then here on the end, we have Bitchcraft. I love the name of it. I love the shade of it. It is stunning. My camera doesn't quite pick it up. It kind of swatches exactly how it looks in the tube. It's like this really deep ruby color with some, it looks like it has peach shimmer in it, some silver and gold shimmer as well. It looks a little bit more sheer and clear when I swatch it on camera, but in person it looks more like you can tell the ruby tint is more noticeable in person because lights tend to wash things out. So we also have Moon Spell Volume 2, so that was the back. This is the front of the packaging that it comes in. This retails for $48. It has 20 eye colors in it. It's an eye color, or what is this called? A color palette. This is called technically a color palette because, as you know, when you're working with vegan formulas, you can't deem something eye safe if it might stain your lid. Some of these shades that are purples and reds, those are the notorious colors for staining your lid. So you may have some stained lids. It's not that big of a deal. The next day, if your lids are stained, just put some concealer on and you should be good to go. But there are 20 colors in here. And I will say I missed out on Volume 1. And I'm very sad. I didn't know it wasn't permanent. I was like, oh, when I have the money, like I'll pick it up, because I was very much into that color story. I was really into the purples and greens that was in Volume 1, but sadly I waited too long, missed my chance. And it's the same thing with Volume 2. He said once it's gone, it is gone. But Manny, I know you have to do a trilogy. This has to be a trilogy here, so hear me out. For Volume 3, can we get this palette but with greens and blues? Like some like lighter, like sagey greens, and then like some deep emerald greens and like some navy blues and like grayer blue colors for Volume 3 to make it a perfect little trio. Like, anyways, this is what the palette looks like. I'm obsessed with it. If you guys are a subscriber of mine, if you know me, if you follow me, you know that I do some spooky witchy shit over on Moon Magic Spirit. It's my other YouTube channel. I also have an Instagram where I do a lot of astrology, tarot, crystals, other things of the mystical arts. You can see that this palette blends in very nicely with the decor that I have going back in here, and I'm literally obsessed with it. Like, this speaks to my soul. I love that it's like a little journal book. And we open it up, we have a nice full-size mirror, we have the 20 shades. I'm gonna swatch some of these for you on my arm just because I don't use a lot of the colors in today's video. But if you are a colorful, spicy bitch, subscribe, because the next makeup tutorial I put out will be going in with brighter colors. I just wanted to keep it simple today since we're doing a palette overview, and I'm also going to use this palette for the grand finale of my Halloween look. So be sure to subscribe. I have some Halloween makeup tutorials coming out. The description box will show you where else to connect with me. I'm just going to quickly do some arm swatches. I feel like it's not as much of a thing as it used to be. And then we will jump into the tutorial and my final thoughts based on my very limited first impression of this palette and the glosses. Across the first row, we have Agatha, Luna, Mildred, Myrtle, Misty. The first row is what I am so excited for. If you are a subscriber of mine, you know I love a good shimmer. Second row is Alex, Cameron, Sally, Gillian, and Willow. Also pretty pumped for the second row. Third row, we have Louise, Zelda, Hilda, Grams, and Freya. That row looks pretty, I mean, all the rows are really good. And then lastly, we have Maggie, Mel, Macy, Queenie, and Marie. All right, so here are the shimmers on my fingers, and they all look so pretty. Ooh, okay, I think that's is that Myrtle? Myrtle is gonna be my bitch. I love that. So Agatha is very much a topper shade, like he said in his video. I'm obsessed with all of these shimmers. Honestly, the only one I don't really like is Mildred because it's copper, and I don't really like orangey or coppery shades, but those are the shimmers. They look so freaking good. I can't wait to use them more. All right, so here is row 2 swatched on my fingers, the pastel shades. I'm very excited for the shade Alex, this lavender purple. Again, I think these shades, they're not going to swatch the best, but I can see them performing really well. I think that's why like swatches aren't really a thing anymore, because it's not like wiping an eyeshadow on with my finger. It has literally nothing to do with how it's going to perform and blend and work on my eyelid with a brush. But I can understand how if somebody's on the fence of getting a palette, you want to see what the colors look like outside of the pan. So that's more so why I'm doing this. And I'm also saying that as a disclaimer, if anyone tries to come for the eyeshadow, you really can't base it off finger swatches. By the way, Manny's video, I really like that it's detailed in his swatches. He does it with a finger, with a brush, and then like packing it on with a brush, I think were the 3 different ways that he swatched. So I like that he showed some versatility in his swatching. All right, in the third row, it looks like we have some more shimmers, but they look like more satiny shimmers. We have 3 in this row. This is what they look like on my fingers. This is one of the shimmers. It looks like a satin more than a shimmer. Here is another satin shimmer, a matte shade, and then the last satin shimmer. Oh, that is juicy. That was the last satin shimmer in the palette. So that is row 3 swatched. I really like this color story. I don't really love warm tones. I don't love reds, which is contradictory because I'm an Aries and everyone likes to say that I should love reds because I'm an Aries. Not all Aries love red. But I'm really liking the reds in this palette. It's really nice. I'm like, oh, I might actually use them. And I mostly bought these for the purples because I love purple eyeshadow. It's probably my favorite eyeshadow color. And then for this last row, we have the spooky row, the dark colors that I would love to do a smoky eye with all of these colors. And I lied because it looks like the last one, ooh, this is pretty. This is like a shimmer satin. We'll see how it swatches, but it's black and it looks like it has pink reflect and glitter in it. And I like that it's throughout. It just didn't wipe off because, you know, sometimes with some palettes, the shimmer is only on the top layer. Again, these darker colors, they're not going to finger swatch the best. Ooh, baby, that is a nice black. It's hard to see. I'm sure the camera isn't picking it up, but the pink glitter, it looks like pink and purple sparkle. It is definitely noticeable in person. So those are all of the shadows swatched. I really fuck with this palette, honestly. Like, I can't wait to use it more. So let's go ahead and get into the demo and see how some of these shadows actually apply. Before we hop into the eyeshadow, I actually want to swatch the lippies, so then when I'm done with my makeup, I know which one to go with. And by the way, this is not one of those channels where I'm going to do my makeup and like perfectly line my lips just to swatch lip products to wipe them off. That's not what we do here. And in case you are new, I don't really have eyebrows, so I outline them before I do my shadow. But anyway, I have my eyes prepped with the ABH primer, and here is the shade Coven. I just suspect this to be a beautiful sheer gloss. Yep. It is just like a really nice clear gloss. This will look so pretty on top of any lip product of your choosing. I just think that this is such a nice topper shade. And I'm going to show you these products swatched on my hand as well. My lips are pretty pigmented as is, so normally I block them out with foundation or concealer. But this is the shade Bitchcraft. This is the ruby one. I'm like so excited to see this one. I feel like I will be wearing this one later, and once I block my lips out, I feel like we'll be able to see it more. Oh yeah, so this is like a sheer, more intense red. It really is true to like a ruby color. This is like giving me all of the fall October vibes. I have a feeling this is a lip that I'm going to be going with once I am done with my makeup. I can tell a lot more in person how ruby this gloss actually is. So you guys will definitely see that at the end of the video. I know right now it just looks like my lips are super shiny. And lastly, we have the liquid lip. This is in the shade Hallows Eve. I'm not sure how many liquid lips Manny has come out with. I personally haven't tried them. Ooh, this applicator though. I just have 2 of his glosses that I picked up when I got his blush palette. This is also the first eyeshadow palette of his that I'm trying. I just have Moon Prism, the blush palette that I love, and 2 glosses that I also love. I'm not gonna lie, I was worried for like the small second because I thought it was gonna be a similar applicator to the lip gloss, but this is nice and precise. I really like this liquid lip applicator. I feel like you don't really need a liner with it either. So this is a color, I think that Pumpkin Spice is a pretty accurate representation of what this color is like. It's picking up a little bit more vibrant red on camera. In person, it's definitely, I would describe it as a very burnt orange color. It has like the slightest hue of like a burnt red to it, but in person, it's definitely more of like a true burnt orange color. It's really, really pretty. And as promised, here are the lip products swatched on the back of my hand. So you can see how Coven, is that the name of this one? Yes, you can see how Coven really is just like a nice topper. It is super, super sheer. It has like the tiniest bit of peach undertone to it. And that ruby Bitchcraft color is stunning. And you can actually see the vibrancy and opaqueness of the liquid lips. So I am a fan based off of those very brief first impressions. I already know his glosses are good, but based off first impression, I'm really liking the liquid lipstick. So now we can move on to the eyeshadow. What I really like about this palette is like just how we have a different bit of diversity. Like the first row is all shimmers, then we have like these more pastel, like kind of muted shades, and then at the very end we have like the dark and spooky goth shades. So I'm pretty excited for this. I'm kind of sad that I'm doing a neutral look today because I want to dive into that color. I'm thinking of doing like a very dramatic winged liner look. So to get that started, I'm going to be taking this e.l.f. angled brush, and I'm also going to be using this KVD UV brush. This is a number 70. As you can see, it is like super, super thin. And the e.l.f. brush is a little bit thicker. So I'm going to map out my wing first with this thin brush. That's what I always do, and then it's easy to like correct and wipe away any mistakes if you're looking super lopsided. So what I'm going to do is start off with this shade Sally. That's a tongue twister. Start off with the shade Sally here. It is like the lightest, most neutral color that we have in the palette. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that and just start mapping out my wings. Okay, so this is about as even as it's going to get. I have like the base of my wing ready. So now I'm just gonna start to build that up. So now I'm taking the thicker e.l.f. brush and I'm just going to really thicken this up, and then I'm gonna go darker the closer to my lash line. This is such a pumpkin spice color. I love it.
When you see me using a fluffy brush in this tutorial, I have no eyeshadow on it. I'm just using it to blend out the shadow that we piled up in the wing just so it has a nice faded effect. And I'm just gonna fade that across my lid and into the crease a little bit.
Now I'm gonna work into building things up with this darker gray shade over here, Mel, and then I'm gonna switch over to this burgundy color, Queenie.
This is going to be the same process as we build darker and darker. I'm just not going to blend it out as much as I did with the first pumpkin-y orange color. So while I'm building this up, I'm just going to make the line a little less thicker than the first time, a little less product, and I'm going to fluff that out with a blending brush and then continue to build until we get to the dark gradient and we have like a nice dark base color closest to the lash line that fades out. Another technique that I like to do when I'm doing these smoked out wing liners is that I press and then I flick outwards and upwards with the shadow, and that's going to help blend it without having to get in there with a bigger brush and muddying things up. So press, so it's the darkest where you press it, and then flick and it will start to fade it out for you. Now that we have all three colors on here, I'm barely touching this blending brush to my skin because I don't want to move the colors around too much. I just want to soften the edge and the fade just a little bit.
All right, so now I'm gonna take the shade Agatha, which I believe Manny described as a topper. So I'm just gonna apply it with my finger. That is my favorite way to apply shimmers, just to have a little something something on the lid so it's not completely matte. This is super, super pretty. It is like an icicle color. All right, so here is the eye look so far. I'm gonna do the rest of my face and I'll be back to do the lower lash line. All right, we are back. We are back and the brows are filled. I mean, it's a Manny video, right? Reviewing his products, I have to. So the only thing I dislike for my eye shape, and again, this is just a makeup tip, it's nothing to do with the product, is that because my eyes like fold and they're like slightly hooded, so after a while you can kind of see how I'm getting like a ring of like the red from it just transferring, even though I used a base and it shouldn't be transferring. What I just like to do, if it bothers you, is just take like a brush with no product on it and just kind of like blend out the edges a little bit. So if you're wearing this like on a night out, maybe just carry like a clean blending brush in your bag and just whip it out in the bathroom and just do a little blendy blendy really fast to help diffuse it a little bit more. All right, so now we can move on to the lower lash line, and I have to use the shade Maggie, like this purple burgundy right down here in the corner, and I'm gonna start packing it on with like a flat brush, and then I'm gonna take a more smudgy brush. This is a BH number 12, and just kind of smudge it out because I love me a smoky lower lash line. I may deepen it up a little bit with the shade Mel, so we'll see how I feel. I also just got my hair done yesterday, and as you guys can see, if you're a returning subscriber, I am transforming back into blonde again. I am so excited. I had like a half up and down for a while because I was growing out breakage, and now it's finally grown out so I can start going more blonde again. And I had more layers cut in and super fun shaggy haircuts. So I am like living for my hair. But yes, I'm just really going to pack this on. I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of Mel. I went back and forth in both of those just to deepen and darken it up because I thought the Maggie shade was going to be a little bit darker than what it is. So now I'm just gonna go into Maggie, pick it up, and I'm gonna dust most of it off because I don't want it to be too much, and then just start building this up. And this is blending out perfectly because what I really wanted was like a haze of like noticeable purple on the lower lash line, and that's exactly what this is giving me. And I'm just ever so slightly and lightly connecting that upwards towards the wing shape. And now what I can do is go back in with the KVD brush, and I'm going back in that Mel shape, picking a little bit up so I can connect the little inner corner thing that I did. So it looks a little bit more intentional instead of just like a line. Ooh, perfect. Okay, and I always like to show what the palette looks like for fallout purposes. As you can see, there's really no fallout. These shadows, by the way, are so creamy and velvety. Like the texture of them is super, super nice. They're not super powdery shadows. So I don't think you have to worry about a really big mess going on. But then again, I use so little and like such a light amount of it. I'll find out when I dig into these a little bit more in the next video. Like I said, if you are a color person, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video when I go in with the color. So I'm going to add mascara, and I'm gonna add mascara in a minute, but first what I wanna do is get this gloss on my lips. Ah, it goes perfect with the lower lash line. I'm super excited. Okay, so this is Bitchcraft. Oh, I feel like the lighting again is like washing it out. In person, it is this beautiful like ruby purple color. It is gorgeous. And I have small lips, so I barely need any gloss. So his glosses last forever, and they smell like vanilla frosting. All right, I'm getting mascara on, and then I will wrap it up with my final thoughts on this first impression of the palette. So here is the finished look with the Lunar Beauty Moonspell Volume 2 palette. Nice, gentle way to ease us in. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on more colorful and spicy, spooky looks. You know I've got that coming for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, be sure to check out the description bar to see where else you can find me. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.